No good name.
How's everything, man? Everything good?
Mohammed Irfaan Ali, a big New York welcome. I can hear you.
My friends, please join with me in prayers. Harihi Om.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا.
Building a safe haven not only for us, but for our posterity. Lord, we thank you today for this opportunity. And again, we beseech your blessings upon the President and those that stand around him to lead this great land. In the name of Jesus. Amen.
Good afternoon. His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfaan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, the Honorable Hugh Hilton Todd, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, the Honorable Foreign Secretary, Sir Robert Prasad, and other members of His Excellency's delegation, Deputy Ambassador in Washington, Mr. Zulfikar Ali. We have Ms. Marcia Nadir Sharma from the President's Office, as well as Her Excellency Caroline Rodriguez Burkett, Guyana's permanent representative to the United Nations, Mr. Joe Yusuf, advisor on diaspora and investment, distinguished personages of the religious communities in the state of New York, esteemed members of the Guyana diaspora, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted and honored to welcome you all today to His Excellency President Mohammed Irfaan Ali's sojourn with us this evening in this beautiful venue to participate in this interfaith forum and interact with the Guyanese diaspora. Let me hasten to add that our President's presence here this afternoon is yet another palpable manifestation of His Excellency's interest in using every possible opportunity to bring communities and groups together to inform of His vision for our country and to listen to the views of all interested parties as we work in unison towards the fulfillment of His One Guyana's agenda. President Ali's energetic, visionary, transformative, and people-centered approach to governance has seen him consult and engage extensively and has revealed his avid proclivity for meeting with groups and stakeholders in the interest of sharing information and pushing and accelerating Guyana's development. Such is the dedicated measure of the man.
It is now my task to welcome to the podium Mr. Robert Prasad, served as a former Minister of Natural Resources, former Minister of Agriculture, also led the Government Information Agency for a while, and he is now the Foreign Secretary attached to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Guyana. Please welcome Mr. Robert Prasad.
Thank you very much. His Excellency, Dr. Mohammed Irfaan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Honorable Hugh Todd, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, our Permanent Representative to the United Nations and former Minister, Carlin Rodriguez, Consul General, our DCM in Washington, Mr. Zulfikar Ali, Mr. Joe Youssef, our diaspora and investment advisor, and very important too, our religious leaders who are joining us at the head table, but certainly you, religious leaders, Guyanese in the diaspora, visiting members of parliament, and others who have been and continue to play a part in the development of not only Guyanese community here in this great city of New York, but also who continue to play a part directly and indirectly in the development of our country. President Ali is someone who is profoundly faith-based, who's someone who views the contribution of the religious community in Guyana, and I guess outside of Guyana, as having to play a very instrumental part in the development and also in facilitating his plans for the transformation of our country. About 96% of our population belong to some religious faith. So we can say that in Guyana, we're a very religious country. And there's one commonality, and if you listen to the prayers of our religious representatives, there's one commonality of all faith, and that is unity. That is brotherhood, sisterhood, that is us developing tolerance, developing harmony. And that is also being a fundamental element of President Ali's agenda in moving Guyana forward. He's not only focusing on economic transformation, but he's put a lot of emphasis on how it is that we can unite our people. Because without unity, we would not be able to realize the full potential, the full development, the full benefits, the full prosperity that our country so richly possesses.
I'd like to recognize the NYPD Daisy Society. Guys, you could take a bow. Stand and take a bow. Thank you. They have done a lot for communities and diaspora. They are always there for us, and we need to recognize them. Thank you very much. And also, we have the assistant to the Queensborough President, Mohammed Ak. Please take a bow. You all look great. You look great. You just clap yourself. All of the balcony and all of that. I don't want you just to be pensive. Now we're into good stuff. We continue with good stuff. We have our ambassador and permanent representative to the United Nations, Carlin Rodriguez Burkett, who will now come and present her message to us. Thank you. Keep black. Keep.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremonies, His Excellency President Mohammed Irfaan Ali, Honorable Hugh Todd, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Foreign Secretary, Madam Member of Parliament Sheila Mathura, Consul General Michael Broderson, Joe Youssef, Zulfikar Ali, Marcia Nadir, all members of His Excellency's delegation, our three leaders of the faith who prayed for us, and you, the people who are here. I am very, very pleased to be part of this event this afternoon and to join in welcoming you here to the event. As many of you would know, on Tuesday, the UN starts what they call High Level Week. It's the week when leaders from across the world come to the United Nations to speak about their country's progress, lack of it, or what they feel should be done in the international community. And I cannot think of a better occasion to start this week than meeting here in prayer. And for this, I thank everyone who's been part of the organization of this event. Guyana, I believe, is very fortunate. And one of our faith leaders spoke about love, harmony, and togetherness. And I believe that if we practice these three things every day in our lives, whether we're Guyanese at home or abroad, our One Guyana has a very bright future. But let us be very clear. His Excellency the President is the one who initiated this One Guyana initiative. But this is our One Guyana, and we all have to be on board.
Development Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Development, Utah. I like the name Utah, you know why? He knows, but I'll share it with you. His dad, who's now 81 years old, we have been friends for a long time. We did a lot of poetry together and so on. Minister, please come. Put your hands together.
Thank you very much for that introduction. His Excellency the President, Dr. Muhammad Irfaan Ali, Foreign Secretary, ambassadors, religious leaders, Member of Parliament, and more importantly, the wonderful group of individuals who have taken time off to be here this evening with us to share, to dialogue, and to build strong bonds of friendship. Welcome. Please give yourselves a round of applause. When President Ali speaks about development, he's speaking to Guyana and the diaspora, and he's focusing on a balanced development. Not just the infrastructural works that you will see, or the tangible things that you will see, but the main emphasis is on social development and enhancement. So when he speaks about transformation and transforming lives, everything that we do in terms of our policies and our strategies is centered around the individual, the citizen. It is important for us because our sovereignty depends heavily on our value system and how strong we are as a people. So the One Guyana initiative is designed to create nationhood, integration, and a strong cultural bond that would assist Guyana in being that great country that we always dreamed of.
Irfaan Ali, the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana.
Thank you very much, very kindly. Thank you, please. Thank you. You're very kind, very, very kind. Thank you so much. My dear respected elders, respected leaders of the religious community, leaders of community, respected Guyanese, our men and women in uniform who serve greatly across the globe. Children, I thank you graciously for your very warm welcome. Today, as I address you, I've just completed a similar address. Maybe is that I say refer to that Orlando speech and let's move on. But I'm very fortunate to be born in a country in which we present to the world 6 different dimensions of humanity bounded together in a singular fuse called Guyanese, a community we're all part of. One of the greatest gifts I've received is to be born in a country that has the greatest possibility to be a leader in the globe on every single challenge that the world faces today. You see, challenges and opportunities go hand in hand. There can never be opportunity if there is challenge. And an opportunity cannot be realized if we don't challenge ourselves to make use of the opportunity. I know this afternoon many of us as Guyanese are not as happy as we should be because of the performance of the Warriors. I just saw a meme saying the Warriors are making all of us warriors. Notwithstanding that, let us give them a round of applause and lift their spirit. Because one of the greatest things we can do in life is to lift the spirits of those who are weak and to lift the spirits of those who are faced with the greatest challenge. And one of the greatest things leaders can do is understand that they have a responsibility to lift the spirit of every single person that they are gifted to lead. And as Guyana's chief servant, I take this responsibility very seriously. My dear brother and friend who is chairing our program made 2 statements. God wants us to be one. That statement that God don't really want us to be one. God created us to be one. We were created as part of a singular humanity. We were not created black, white, brown, pink, or orange. We were created as part of the family of humanity. We decided that we are going to define ourselves differently in the family of humanity. All we need to do is to get back to the fundamental aspect as to why we were created and how we were created, and then we'll understand the principal purpose of life as being in one whole humanity. And then, one Guyana phrase. If we conceptualize the concept of One Guyana as a phrase, we will not achieve what One Guyana is looking to achieve. Because One Guyana is not a phrase, a slogan, or pieces of words. One Guyana requires action, commitment. It requires a fulfillment of every single one of us joining collectively to pushing one thing forward, Guyana. I am not asking anyone to be PPP, ACNU, whatever, PNC. All I'm asking for in the One Guyana construct is for all of us to put Guyana first and do what is right in positioning Guyana first. And the rest will take care of itself. The rest will take care of itself. If we all love this country so dearly, and we all believe in the country so dearly, and we all want to see the country to be prosperous and unified, and the country to be on top and playing and its best part in the global community, then all we need to do is to make the individual effort in putting Guyana first, pushing Guyana first, advancing Guyana first. None of us can be bigger than the country. And once we are able to understand that our country should be first, and our efforts should lead to positioning our country first, then we will rid ourselves of the selfish desires that bar us sometimes from putting our country first. And in putting our country first, it requires, like any system, rules, respect, laws that we must all adhere to. The church cannot function without the foundation that is the embodiment of the value system that supports the church. Same with the mosques and the temples. Similarly, a country must be built on a set of values and a system that promote peace, that promote dignity, that promote respect, that promote honor, and it is embodied in the Constitution and the rule of law. We cannot claim to love the country and at the same time find it convenient not to abide by the rule of law or to respect constitutional rule or to respect and honor democracy and the rights of people and the will of the people. Those are principles and values we must never sacrifice. And if together we all agree that these are principles and values that are paramount to anyone, any individual, any system, whether political system or political party, we are standing on these values that will support the future and the country we want to build, then we are 75% there, because we are building a country based on values, systems, and principles that will allow the country and its people to blossom. So I want to start by addressing those issues. Now, what is it we want to achieve? I want to say that I wish to address a road today. We must understand where we are, where we want to be, and then define how is it we're going to get there. But in defining this, we must first of all understand where we are. And we must question ourselves. What are the things where we are today that we are not happy with? What are the things where we are today that we must seek to change? And seek to change in relation to the outcome as to where we want to be. and then define the journey that will take us where we want to be. But in defining that journey, we have to be conscious that we are not operating in an environment by ourselves. We are part of a global community. And there are internal factors and external factors that will affect the way we grow and develop. So I want to take this little concept and as quickly as possible crystallize it in a way that will give you a flavor as to where we want to be and how we're going to get there. The conditions necessary to ensure we get there are issues of love, trust, commitment, involvement, respect, dignity, values, diversity, systems, patriotism, pride, and humility. Those are necessary things that would allow us to go on this journey. But those are things the government cannot control. Those are things all of us must control. Those are things that are personal to us individually. Because we cannot change the societal system if we don't change the system that is inside each of us. So if we are taught to hate, then we have to change that internally. Rethink and retrain ourselves so that we can love. If we are taught not to associate, then we have to now re-strategize internally. So I'm saying this to say to all of us that we first must internalize everything that I'm going to say. And then ask ourselves the question, am I as an individual ready to make the changes that are necessary for us to accomplish what we want to accomplish? And if each of us make the positive change, then the community will change. If the community change, the region will change. If the region change, the country will change. So we have to understand that in driving this process, there must be empathy. You must feel something when your neighbor is hurt. You must feel something when your country is hurt. You must feel something when the rule of law is broken. And when you feel that, you must be able to speak up. You must be able to be part of a system that promote the values and virtues that would ensure those things do not occur. Responsibilities and opportunities also requires respect. And whilst my friend in the red hat is saying he's here for that, it requires you to have respect. If we cannot have respect for each other, we cannot listen to each other. And if we can't listen to each other, we can't solve any problem. Because if from the time you come and you put up your hands and just want to speak over what we want to say, then we ain't headed nowhere. We ain't headed nowhere. I assure you of one thing, you need not to worry. This president will stand up and answer anything, anytime, anywhere. region. So you see, that's one of the first things. That's one of the first things we have to understand. The process of development is very simple. Communication is a very simple thing. It is us listening to each other and respecting each other. And you have nothing to worry about. Absolutely nothing to worry about. We are here to listen also to ideas. None of us have the answers for everything. It is when we pool our collective effort, it is when we take collective responsibility that we're able to build a system that will support the development that I'm talking about. Now, let me address first of all how we build this future. And let me be clear on this. The future is not about the government alone. The future requires the parliamentary system, the political opposition, it requires civil society, it requires the diaspora, it requires women, young people, children, it requires every single facet of the society to be part of the development of the future. So let us not for a moment believe that this future belongs to the government. This future belongs to the people. When a government is elected, it is the end of the electoral process. But at the end of that electoral process, that government then has a responsibility to govern for all the people of the country. And when I was in Orlando, some people asked me, no, we wanted to see you such a long time, why 2 years after? And I said, first we had a pandemic, you already forget that we went through a pandemic. But more importantly, I am spending time with the cabinet, walking every single community, listening to every single person, understanding the problems that every person is going through. And I don't want to drive through the problem or fly through the problem. I'm walking the ground, listening to the people, feeling with the people, understanding with the people, so that we have a better sense as to what the people are faced with on the ground. Unless we have a personal connection and understanding with what people feel, we will not have a deep sense. You know, empathy comes from a sense, a feeling. You have to be connected. I can't, you know, up over here, many people would call you and tell you send something back home. But they don't know. Sometimes you wake up at 4 in the morning, you go through the worst snowstorm. You struggle. You know, I make this point. When you left because you wanted a better life. Yes. You wanted something better for your children, your future. Yes. You wanted to create a better condition for your family. Yes. But it came with sacrifices. Yes. It came with many sleepless nights. Similarly, now that opportunities are there in your homeland, we want you to be part of those opportunities. But you also need to use the same vigor that you left with. Use that same vigor you left with and go back with that vigor. Make the sacrifices, make the commitment. Don't for a moment believe that you're going back to a system in which someone will reach out to you and say, here, this is a basket of fruits, take it. The world does not operate like that. You have to go and plant the tree and mold the tree and water the tree, and the tree will blossom and you will get the fruits. You see, many people say to me, oh, we want to come to Guyana, we want to see you, we need to see you. And I said, but there's a system. You can go invest. No, we want to see you. If we don't understand that we need to build a system and trust the system, then we cannot solve the problem. That brings me to the second point. The institutional and political system. Let me be very clear. There is a lot of improvement that is needed in the system itself. The inefficiency that exists in the system must be fixed. But we are working on a plan that will fix it in a very, very rapid way. We're trying to remove the type of system that allows people to make decisions based on feeling. You know, the system must be developed in such a way that it works. And technology allows us to do that. And we're investing heavily in technology, in training, in human resource strengthening, capacity building to fix the system. And I can tell you, the system is improving. Now, you might give me an example, so let me give you before you give it to me. That you're waiting a very long time to have your passports renewed. That is one I hear a lot, even in Guyana. So let me explain to you. You know, one man said to me, he lives in Toronto, I can't come home. I can't get my passport. I said, but you live in Toronto, where's your Canadian passport? He said, I applied for that 9 months ago and I'm still waiting. And I said, and how long are you waiting for the Guyana passport? He said, 3 weeks. Now let me explain something to you. We live in a global system. The supply chain crisis is real. The providers of our passport is a leading international company out of Canada. But because of supply chain issues, there is a tremendous shortage globally. And whilst there is this shortage, I don't know why, but the demand for Guyanese passport has increased by 500%. So unfortunately, we are hit with a perfect storm. We are hit with a supply chain crisis and a rapid increase in demand for the passport. And every day, the consulate office here would call the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. People cussing me. But this is the reality. Since a year and a half ago, we ordered, I think, 80,000 passports. 80,000 passports. We have been continuously ordering. So I give you that one example. As we are on it, let me give you a next example. And you should know this best. The United States had to launch what we term a military mission for baby formula recently. You see, sometimes we look at the news and we don't apply the news to what we're faced with. You know, when we look at the impact of COVID, all of us can point to someone who we knew that we lost. Very, very sad. Many of us even lost family members. But the impact of COVID is so profound that we can determine what the final end will be. Because the effects of long COVID is now being analyzed. But let me tell you, currently, what has been the direct impact of COVID? COVID sent 140 million people into extreme poverty around the world. This one pandemic, not only the death, it sent 140 million people globally into extreme poverty. That is people living on less than US dollars, $1.90 per day. You don't hear this on the headline at CNN or Fox News. Let me just make sure I'm politically correct here. Right? You know why you don't hear it? And I'm going to speak about this at the UN. You don't hear it because those who are worst affected are the people in the developing world who the least attention is placed on. That is why you don't hear it. You know, I use this example many times. There is a journalist who came from a very reputable international media outfit and said to me, you know, what are you guys going to do with all these resources and revenue from oil and gas? You know, what this country is going to do with it? What are you going to do on climate change? And I was shocked. And I said, do you know that this country existed long before oil and gas? Do you know that this country has preserved a forest the size of England that stores 19.5 gigatons of carbon that has saved this world? And tell me, where were you asking the world if they're paying for the service the country was giving? Because if the world was paying for the service the country is giving, then our economy would have been the top 10 economy in the world, just by this one service. But the question is, what brought you to Guyana? Because we existed long before, we had this forest before, we were playing our part in climate change before, but oil and gas brought you? It's the hypocrisy in the message. The hypocrisy. If it was never for oil and gas, they would have never came. They would have never featured Guyana. You would have been just another one in a number of developing countries finding our way and finding our path. But from the time you define your own path, and there are revenues to take you down that path, then trust me, there is not enough specialists that you can count. Even we have more specialists than the trees we have in the forest now. But this is the reality. So, the second aspect is the political system that we must fix. We cannot go through elections after elections with uneasiness. The political system must be fixed that ensures political stability. You see, our country is developing at a very rapid pace. And it's becoming very sophisticated. So the very sophisticated investors are coming in now. But with the sophisticated investors, trust me, the sophisticated criminals coming too. You guys know that better than I. You will have more exposure in terms of electronic crimes. Because it is not only the good that are looking at opportunities. Right? The church was saying the devil looking to win souls. That is what makes their life very difficult. Because they have to keep the devil out and also win at the same time. So we have to build a system. And when your political system is weak, when your political system cannot withstand the development of the country, or when there's porousness in your political system, it can be used. And we saw this. This is nothing new for us. This is what divided us in the first place. This is what divided us in the first place. The colonizers saw a weakness in the political system, a porous part in the political system, and they played it, they manipulated it, they divided us. They created the condition that has led to where we are. So if we don't understand that the political system must be strong to support the development agenda and to support the country, then we'll open ourselves up for those similar weaknesses in the future. That is why all of us must play a part in strengthening the system, ensuring that the electoral laws, the constitution, democracy, the rule of law, that is all respected and it works every single day. It can't work today and don't work tomorrow. It has to work every single day for it to be functional. People, systems, institutions. When we talk about crime, we have to talk about improvement in the Guyana police force that leads to transparency, holding people more accountable for their action. And we're using technology to help us with this. By the end of the first quarter next year, we're hoping that we'll be well on our way to have the entire coast on the CCTV coverage. It's a massive investment, but a vital investment. Today, many of you will look at social media. Is that Angie? Oh my God. We worked together when I was a technician at the Ministry of Finance. It's always good to see people you know. Give you a shout out. So, the political, what was I saying? You see, you throw me off now. The CCTV system. So, our security system, our national security architecture is undergoing massive change. Massive change. And today, if you go on social media, you will see videos of every activity that occurs. Whilst crime is an issue, we have made steady improvement to the extent that we have perhaps one of the lowest rates right now in the region. But we amplify it. It's a small society. And we recognize it as a challenge. We are making the investments. We're investing in infrastructure, the equipment, giving the police officers the training. Many of them today are studying, they're doing degrees, diplomas. Because when you increase their self-worth, when you increase and improve their personal pride, then you're giving them additional motivation to be better at what they do. So, on the security front, you're making tremendous changes using technology and the best-in-class technology to drive the improvement in the security sector. You see, Guyana and the future of Guyana is not about oil and gas. I want to make this very clear. Our future is not oil and gas. Our future will be built with revenues from oil and gas. Because we always had the natural assets to make a strong economy. What we never had was a revenue base to capitalize that asset. Today, for the first time, we have the revenue base that can catalyze that asset, that natural resource, bring the value added, and improve our economy in a multifaceted and diversified manner. For the first time, we have the clout, and it's important in the world. We have the clout, we have the network, and the ability to influence. And in 2 years, what we have seen, as I speak to you today, 6 new hotels, internationally branded hotels, are under construction in our country. Many new eco-lodges, industrial and commercial zones, high-end real estate companies. Well, if you have land in Guyana now, you know you're smiling all the way. Because whether you're on the West Coast, in Georgetown, the East Coast, East Bank, and now even in Berbice, the prices of land in the last 2 years would have increased by maybe between 300 to 2,000% in some cases. It's a reality. It's a reality. And many people are under the false impression that we have so much land in Guyana. What is the truth? The truth is that 80% of our population live on the narrowest strip of land on the coast. So we are already approaching maximum point. We are maximizing the land availability on the coast right now. Because between the Atlantic and the wetlands, we are almost there with land. Now we're seeing most of the development plans. We just had to bring the Condominium Act. We had to pass a new Condominium Act. We have to change the height that buildings can go. So there will be physical change, there will be structural changes. Those of you who are coming back, or who have been going back for the last 2 years, every single day you're seeing it changing before you. It's exciting times. Your young children, those of you who have young children, you should let them explore Guyana now. Explore the opportunities in Guyana. Because what we are doing is not responding to the current situation. The leadership we are providing is building an economy that is functional and appropriate for 2030 and beyond. Now, why do I say that? You see, this world we live in today will be a very, very different world in 2030. Every single thing that we are accustomed to will be drastically changed by 2030. And unless we're able to build the systems, the institutions, and the structure of the economy to function in a world 2030 and beyond, then we'll just be playing catching up. And not only building the economy and infrastructure, but building the human resources. Ensuring we have the appropriate human resource with the necessary skills that is applicable to a functional economy in 2030 and beyond. Very important. Because when we speak about sustainable and resilient development encompasses these aspects and these virtues. We want to position Guyana as a leader in educational and health services. We are working now with Mount Sinai in the health sector. Our first order of business is to give the people in Guyana the best possible access to primary health care. Primary health care is fundamental. Over the last 2 years, we have launched a program where we are giving annual vouchers to every single person who needs dialysis, and they can go to any facility that provides dialysis, whether private or public, to have that treatment. We've removed corporate taxes from healthcare and education completely. It is not taxed at all. What that has allowed is for a lot of investment in private healthcare, because we want the private healthcare services to focus on specialization and building a health hub in Guyana for the Caribbean and the diaspora, because we are catering for the diaspora too. There is a huge market in the health sector that goes to Asia, goes to India for treatment. Health tourism is a big thing. So we're opening up discussions right now with different stakeholders on building out the healthcare infrastructure. We have already signed the contract for a very modern children and maternal hospital in Guyana. One that will give you all the services any children and maternal hospital offers anywhere in the world. We are building 6 new regional hospitals. One of the things that we're working on also is getting the right human resource. Doctors, nurses, technicians, lab technicians, to be part of what we want to build. It's a challenge because we have a small population. But with the growth in the whole welfare package that includes salaries, we're becoming more and more attractive. And at some point, we're already working on an immigration system, migration and immigration policy, because we have to focus on those who went and we want them to come back. That will identify in a comprehensive way the gaps that exist, and then we have to define a policy as to how we'll fill that gap. This is a big part of what we're doing in building the future. Educational services, creating the conditions through which we can attract more international universities, international colleges, medical schools, to be part of the development phase of our country. So in education and health services, we want to be a leader. In climate change, we are a leader. Let me just refer to some stats so you'll understand what I'm saying when I say we are already a leader in climate change. Our forests, our ecosystem, and our biodiversity. It is 18.3 million hectares of standing forests that stores 19.5 gigatons of carbon, with a conservative estimated value of 195 billion United States dollars. That is a conservative value of our standing forests when we talk about the carbon market. More importantly, this is a forest that stores 4% of all known plant species in the world, and more bird species than the entire United States of America, and 3% of all known animal species. That is the biodiversity and ecosystem value of the forest that stands in Guyana. And there are 3 main challenges the world is going to face: food security, climate security, and energy security. In climate security, we are going to be a leader. Outside of this, the deforestation rate of our forests is among the lowest in the world, at 0.05%. 0.05%. And I'm not counting, well, if we count what the forestry sector is valued you're talking about 500 billion United States dollars. The value of the wood, put it in plain language, that we have standing there is 500 billion United States dollars. So on the carbon side, it is 195 billion. And on the standing wood, the trees, it's over 500 billion United States dollars. If the world is serious in talking about getting out of fossil fuel and moving in a climate change, zero carbon emission future, let's start playing ball. Let's start here. As I always say, let's not gaff. These are the figures. So on climate change, we're standing on solid ground. I can give you the value of our mining sector, but I'm not going to bore you with all of that. We have perhaps one of the largest reservoir of fresh water. You're going to see wars in the future about fresh water. We have perhaps the largest reservoir that will support any food system. But we can't catalyze this without the revenues. And let me address the issue, When we ended COP26, people said we must stop fossil fuel. We know that there must be a transition. There has to be a transition. Just 3 months after the war in Ukraine, we hear from the same people, pump more but pay your taxes. It is based on the subjective conditions. Then, what is the story? We are not going to finance any new entrant in the fossil fuel industry. So they're going to penalize all the new countries who want to get into fossil fuel. Making capital hard to get, making it expensive. What is that going to do? If you're a businessman and the cost of your capital is more, you won't drive up the cost? Who is going to suffer? It is the poor. It's simple. But let's ask them a simple question. Why are you penalizing the new entrants? Are you protecting a monopoly that existed for 100 of years and people who benefited for 100 of years from fossil fuel? They won't want to answer that. Because what in fact they're doing is creating the conditions under which they are protecting a monopoly of those who have benefited for 100 of years from the fossil fuel industry. Now we understand our responsibility well, that there needs to be transition. We are now embarking on a gas to shore project. One of the most inhibitive factors for us as a country in pushing manufacturing, industrial development, agro-processing has always been the cost of energy. For the first time in the history of our country, we have the opportunity to bring down the cost of energy. And by 2025, the cost of energy will be reduced by at least 50% for every single household. Immediately, we are now positioning ourselves to be a leading destination for investment in agro-processing, manufacturing, and industrial development. Infrastructure transformation. And not a major plan of what. I gone on too long now? You guys tell me when I should stop. Nah, don't tell me keep going. There's a lot of papers here. All right, so let me just give you a little flavor as to what is happening. Right now, we have the new Demerara River Bridge. The contract has been awarded. That's a 4-lane bridge. You see, we cannot develop the country, especially with a small human resource base, in which families or workers that are so limited in number spend 4 to 5 hours in the traffic, just going to work and coming home from work. You can't build a country like that. We have to create infrastructure. We have to open up new lands and invest in new farm-to-market access roads. So we're building that new bridge now across the Demra River. At the same time, we have just awarded the contract to a Brazilian company for the first phase of the Linden to Mabura Hill Road. That is a road that links Guyana to Brazil. We have also awarded the contract for all the bridges along that road up to Lethem to be built international standard concrete bridges. What this does for the first time is to catalyze. For the first time, it catalyzes the opportunity of the deep water harbor in Guyana to service northern Brazil. You have just opened expression of interest in a joint Guyana-Suriname project that will see the bridging of the Quarantine River, allowing Guyana and Suriname to be integrated with one bridge. You've already awarded, and work would have started on the Ogle to Eccles new highway. The Mandela to Eccles new 4-lane highway has been completed. Eccles to Diamond is now under construction. Schoonard on the west coast to Crane in the first phase, then going all the way to Purika, and as we build out, all the way going to Bartica, opening up the country, opening up opportunities. In September, we'll be signing the new loan to repave the Linden-Soesdijk Highway, improving that entire area. And by the way, the new Silica City will go on that highway, leading to resilience and sustainability. We're also looking at a new 4-lane highway from New Amsterdam to Molson Creek. And already, we have challenges with the Berbice River Bridge because of volumes and opening up that river. So we have to start thinking strategically about a bridge that would allow free access and use of the Berbice River. These are all things that are necessary to drive infrastructure, that are necessary to drive the growth and development that is coming our way. Outside of this, we're spending billions of dollars on community infrastructure, community roads, recreational facilities, community ground, building new stadiums, creating new growth hubs, development hubs all across the country. New industrial and commercial zone. For the first time, we're having major investment back in the dairy industry, in the poultry industry, in the livestock industry. We are moving our production of corn and soya from zero by 2025, I think, to 35,000 tons, and then moving to sustainability, self-sufficiency, and export to the Caribbean region. We're positioning ourselves to be the food hub of the Caribbean and one of the leading food producers in the region. By 2025, we've already awarded a contract that will see 100% access to treated water for every single person living on the coast of Guyana. 100%. Moving from 50+% to 100% by 2025. And we have removed VAT on electricity and water. We have no intentions of increasing this because we see water as a fundamental human right, and that is a social good that the government must be able to subsidize in a manner and deliver to the people. Our housing program, I don't need to speak about this, our housing program is second to none in the Caribbean and Latin America. Our housing program is second to none. 50,000 new house lots. For the first time, we have given every single incentive you can think about or dream about to realize home ownership. For the first time, we have thousands of young people turning their own keys in semi-gated and gated communities. government subsidizing, working with the banking sector, getting low-income loans without collaterals, moving the low-income interest rate in just 2 years by 3 percentage points downwards when it's going upwards globally. This is what we're doing in an environment that we had to battle COVID, battle 4 floods. And we've been able to accomplish all of this. In healthcare, the same story is there. In education, we are almost halfway through our commitment of 20,000 scholarships to Guyanese. We have more than 10,000 young people studying online at universities all across the world, completely financed by the government. And we are moving rapidly in ensuring university education becomes free. Whilst all of this is happening, we have to be in a position to train 6,000 people to work in the hospitality sector by 2025. Because the new hotels are going to come on stream and they will need people. We have just entered an agreement with a Canadian college, a college out of the UK and in Barbados, to have this certification and training done. We're investing more than $100 million in what you would know as the Port Moran Training Institute, making it the National Skills Training Institute that will train all the Guyanese that is needed in the future and give them the skills that is needed in the future. Not only in oil and gas, in the near future, we'll need more than 4,000 specialized welders. We are investing in training all these people and building the capacity. This is real work that is going on, real planning that is going on. And we are building it out to be 2030 ready. So the economy is going to be heavily driven on technology. It's going to be a knowledge-based economy. We just had meetings to launch the first part of an innovation village that will be part of Silicon City. Technology that you've never seen before, cutting edge. We are not moving in a straight line. We are building tomorrow today. That is what we have to do in order to be competitive. And it's not talking it, it's getting it done on the ground. We have been able to negotiate with the UAE. And by November, I have my fact checker at the back there, okay? By November, we're going to launch a program where every single primary school child will be exposed to training in coding before they leave primary school, nowhere else. And we're introducing in secondary school, intermediate training in software development, so that our children can be part of the new emerging tech industry that is coming. One company alone has just committed, because of the policies and incentives that we're given, to develop the call center industry to create 5,000 jobs in the next 2 years. That one company alone. And guess what? They're bringing the big players. And why is this important? Many people say call center is the low level. But let me explain to you what a call center means. We're going to train people, and I don't use this term, but people use it. I don't like it. You say they're housewives at home. The women at home who are not working sometimes because they don't have the opportunity. We are now going to train them to work in those call centers so that the disposable income for the family will increase and improve. When the disposable income is improved, more value is created at the family level. More prosperity is created at the family level. When more prosperity is created at the family level, there is greater feeling of inclusiveness. And guess what? The salary they will get from the call center is equivalent to 3 times what a low-income loan repayment will be for a home. That is new money, additional money coming to the family. These are the type of investment. We're investing in technical education. We're building our tourism product. We have just, for the first time, we've worked to get the CPL finals. But it's not only about the cricket. It is creating a new product called Cricket Carnival. It's bringing together two aspects of Caribbean culture. Two aspects of Caribbean culture together that drives traffic. We're working with KLM, British Airways, Virgin, in getting more capacity coming into the country. These are things that we're doing. These are investments that we're making so that life can be better. I'm not going to tell you about what we're doing for the old age pensioners, for the children, giving them back their Because We Care grant, school uniform grant. For the first time, we have given a grant to every single person living with disability in the country. More importantly, we have now registered every single person living with disability, and they will be on the permanent register for public assistance every single month from the government. We are also building a system through which we will help to integrate them in the workforce. We'll help to integrate them and create opportunities for their creative minds. Building out special needs schools across the country, training teachers in special needs education, training volunteers, training home care workers. Working on building daycare centers at strategic areas across the country so that young women do not lose their careers when they get children. But that the systems, institutions, the government must be able to develop institutions and infrastructure that help them to achieve both the family and also help them to advance and protect their careers. These sometimes are referred to the soft issues, but they are very hard issues that affect people on a daily basis. These are the investments we're making. These are the things that we are doing to create comprehensive growth, a holistic approach to growth and development. We don't want to create uneven growth. We have to work on ensuring that the system works for every single one. That is why when we are supporting vulnerable communities and vulnerable people, it is not handouts. In every society there is vulnerability. And the society must be able to take care of the vulnerability that exists. Otherwise you will have inequality and disparity that could lead to many social problems. Those who look at this and say it's handout, they don't have a clue what development is. The religious leaders are here, they can tell you in the text it refers to these circumstances. We are building a country that will be driven by a transformative economy, a modern financial architecture, technology, knowledge, research and development that will create resilience and sustainability. We are very humbled by what we have. We have to remain a humble people, strong in our values. We have to refocus our energy on building families and communities, creating an environment in which we build trust. We take responsibility for each other. We support each other. We celebrate the accomplishment of each other. Not an environment in which there is rancor and there is arrogance and there is hate and there is perpetual push to divide us. I do not care about such an environment. My focus is very simple. It is on all the people of this country. And here in diaspora, sometimes I'm upset because people sit from a very comfortable chair or a coffee shop and they will go on social media and say the worst of things. Not wanting to be part of the solution, but find joy and pride in being part of the problem. Well, I have news. You will not shake me. My belief and commitment in the people of this country is unshakable. So when I come off this stage and I come to you, and social media will reflect a whole different story, all I will do is smile and say, let's move on. Let's move on. Because I have recognized already in society, there's some who will move forward, and there are some who will want to pull you backwards. To those who want to pull backwards, I say there is still space for you to move forward. Unfortunately, however, we can't wait forever for you to make up your mind what you want to do. So whenever you're ready to join the train, meet us at the next stop. God bless you, and I thank you.